then you try run it again, and you see my async. You see async number 42. Yep. And this is the code right here. This is the code right here doing that magic.
That guy from Blackstones.
Hi, Rashid started here. This is the story of how I wanted to build an operating system to take Microsoft and Apple out of business. Oh, one thing, that dream died, but I managed to build a toy operating system. And this is the story. The story of me and operating systems dates back to 2016. But before I even begin to tell you the story, there are so many details that are left out. But to make the story a little bit more complete, I wrote a companion article which can be found at my website rashidstyler.com. In 2016, when I discovered programming, I didn't have a computer at the time, so I was learning with a friend. I was using his computer to learn. And what we did was just to write batch file viruses. So we'd go on the internet and learn how to create these stuff, and we would create them on our computer and test them on our own computers. One thing we really did was that we just create this batch file virus that would shut down your computer when you open it, and we would put it on our machine and copy it and put it in a pen drive. So when we go to our friends to copy software or to give them software, we intentionally copy it and put on their desktop and rename it to do not open, right? And only God knows the number of times they've crashed their computers trying to open that. So that was just basically how we started. It was just having fun with computers and programming. So one day, I don't know how I got that idea, but I was like, hey, Windows sucks. Let's build an operating system. And my friend was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. And the whole idea is like, Windows sucks, macOS sucks, so we're going to build an operating system that will take them out of business. I was a kid, and but now I'm grown, and I know that's impossible, right? And when we said we were going to build an operating system, all what we knew was the user interface, because it's only when I started to build an operating system I was like, no, way wrong. I even drew the design of the operating system. Mac, they have this task bar at the bottom, and when you click on an icon, then some genie effects and the window will open up. So I was thinking, our operating system is going to have water flowing at the bottom, and the minimized apps will be there, right? So when you hover on the app, then it will jump out of the water, it will make a splash, then it will open the window. And I drew all that, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be the operating system. But the dream, it died, right? So we went back to school, and that was just it. So this story begins in 2021 in Kumasi. So I was in Kumasi during the lockdown, and a member of Dev Congress named Yao posted in Dev Congress that he was in Kumasi and he was working at the staff guest house in KUST. So if anybody wanted to come around, the person should come around, then we just hang out. So I jumped on the opportunity, and I was like, okay, I'm coming. So I took Uber and I went and met Yao, started having a lot of conversations about almost everything. We had never met. It was like we had known each other for a long time. But one of the conversations that really stood out to me was when we talked about the craftsmanship in programming. That was where the conversation ended. I went to Slack and I was like, okay, I have always been interested in understanding the low-level stuff of computing, understanding how computers work. So I told you, okay, I want to do C. I want C to be one of the languages that I have expert level knowledge. And based on the conversations we had, Go's ideas of how to build software, I've been intrigued, and Go is one of the languages that I also want to learn and I want to go deep in. And I have some experience building web applications in Python and Django. And I think I have intermediate level Python knowledge, and I want to go deeper and more get some expert level. He was like, oh, okay, cool. That's a great idea. So this conversation happened in Slack, in the Dev Congress community, because Yao was in Dublin and I was in Ghana, so I couldn't call him or something like that. But I used to leave him messages hoping that he would video. One magical afternoon, Yao sent me a message, and that is where everything started. So Yao texted me, how is work? Last time we spoke, you wanted to go all out on Python. How is that coming along? And I was like, For months now, I have been gathering resources. I was finding it difficult on how one transitions from intermediate to an expert level Python developer. And yeah, I was like, I see. Now you feel you have the resources to do that? And I was like, yes, I think. I have all the resources I need to become a well-rounded software engineer. All that is left is my hard work and dedication. I said, you remember the Flask full stack I got into? I reached APIs, I learned it, and I was tasked to build an API project to complete the second project of the course. I built parts of the API, but the catch was that the front end of the project was written with React, and I didn't know React. I set out to use a month to do the React and come back to continue the project. So I wrote to them asking them to do something about $100 a month fee I was paying them to have access to the course, and they reduced it to $75, but that was still high for me, so I decided to stop. A course that was originally 2,100 Ghana cedis, I ended up paying over 10,000 Ghana cedis, and they still refused to reduce it to $25 a month for me. And Yago was like, huh? Why did you have to pay that much? Why did you have to pay any money at all? That's insane. And I was like, oh boy. And Yago said to say, dump it, I'll be your mentor. I replied, honestly, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I really appreciate it. I am all in it. Let's do it. He said, you need to change projects. I will prepare a plan and share with you before the end of the week. The target isn't any specific language, but becoming a better programmer. And I replied, all right, thank you very much. I will be patiently waiting. So he says, you have to change languages often. Sounds good to you? And I replied, sounds perfect. I think I have almost completed the curriculum. I need to firm up the resources and material. So give me until the end of this week to do that. I'll share the curriculum with you in the meantime when I'm on my laptop. And I'm like, all right, thank you for your effort. I'm patiently waiting. I have formulated the nature of the program, and my estimate is that it can start to finish in about 3 months, not less, but probably exceeding a couple of weeks or even a month. I have planned an 8-hour weekday schedule. All of that isn't spent on coding, by the way. There's a lot of reading, a lot of research, and a lot of writing. That said, there are 5 projects to choose from. And he says the projects include writing an operating system, writing a programming language, writing a file system, writing a web framework, and writing a front-end framework. And he says, in my opinion, working on such projects exposes you to a wide variety of methods and modes of thinking that are necessary for a successful programmer. They are difficult and you will suffer. But that is where all the lessons and confidence as a programmer hide. And I replied, me, I will do writing an operating system and writing a programming language. After all goes well, because I don't know if I'll still be alive after attempting these projects, I would love to build these two, writing a file system, writing a web framework, and writing a front-end framework. For me, doing this stuff, like I feel like it's going to be challenging. I'm going to love it because I really want to understand how stuff work. So he presenting these projects to me, and think back when I was growing up and I wanted to build an operating system. So it was no brainer for me to just say, yo, I'm going to do the operating system. So that's what I chose. And me saying I would do the others was like an avenue for me to grow as a programmer, for me to understand what is underlying these technologies that I use. And Yao goes and says, along with that, you will need to acquire the following books. And these books include Zen and Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, The Money Game, Better, Ship, and there is Calculus Made Easy to Work With You. The system I am developing here targets various parts of your brain to improve alertness. It also greatly enhances your ability to make connections between apparently unrelated. This is something I'm interested in. I call it pattern matching. Basically, you take stuff that like seems unrelated and you are able to create connections between them. And I feel like it's very valuable when it comes to solving problems, because most people, there's this saying that an expert knows how to do one thing, but in the mind of a beginner, there are like several opportunities to doing the same thing. So I feel like having a wide range of intelligence or having a wide range of knowledge in various aspects of life like would affect the way you solve problems. And as a software engineer, that is something you are doing all the time. And how much you know in stuff that seems unrelated might actually affect the way you solve problems. And I've seen this work in my life in the past. You are being put in solving a problem where like everybody is trying what they know, but you come out with a different perspective. Sometimes I find myself going like totally opposite in the direction that my friends or the people involved are trying to solve the problem. And that has worked a couple of times for me, and for me that is really interesting. So I try to grow myself as an individual by learning seemingly random stuff that people wouldn't think they are interested in. But for me, I feel like there's a lot of lessons that can be derived from several areas of life when it comes to problem solving. From there, like everything moved on to Discord because this was now we starting. Me, I got two of my friends involved. As in, like he said, he wanted somebody to join for us to do the program. So we introduced ourselves, talked about the stuff we have worked on and why we chose to do TopRank and how we are willing to commit. And the first task was basically put on a website where you would blog regularly as you are learning. So this is the code of Oubre Os, and I just thought I should put it in. This is the main. And this is what you see when the operating system runs. Yeah. And we handle interrupt here. This is what is handling hardware interrupts and printing something to the screen. So I put the dots there so that the operating system doesn't appear to have crashed when it has been loaded. Right. So what I'm going to do is to put thank you for watching and show you allocator stuff, and the allocators that I use have bump allocators, fixed size block, and linked list allocators, right? That allows us to have like multitasking. This is in the keyboard, right? And a simple executor. This is like memory management stuff, have a multi-level page management and stuff like that. And this is where we draw a border. I draw a nice border for the operating system. Yeah, so that's Oubre Os. So one thing that I want to say is that, like, I joke that if Oubre Os is my kid, then Oubre Os has a godfather, and Yao is Oubre's Os godfather. Yao has had like ideas for starting TopRank before he even met me. And for me, having the dream of like building an operating system is just like, it's a trivial dream like everybody has. I mean, people have dreams to do stuff. Like when I was a kid, like I always wanted to be a pilot or an engineer, and those are also dreams, right? So like I'm not going to say, oh, I wanted to build an operating system and I grew up and I built it. No, like that. It's not like that. It was just a dream. People have dreams. It wasn't nothing big. But what actually happened, the lessons of this is like having an opportunity and jumping onto the opportunity. You have presented the opportunity of TopRank, and I saw the opportunity and I jumped on it. And I'm like 10 times or more than that, like magnitudes of a developer than I was during the years that I did programming on my own without having really to do anything as challenging as this. And some people dropped out, but for me, I didn't. So it's like seeing the opportunity and jumping on it. And this opportunity even happened because like I have always had the love for connecting with people and learning from them. And one thing that like I really like to do is connecting with people who are smarter than me. Because I feel like there's this saying that if you work with 5 people, you are like the average of the 5 people or the average of the 3 people. I always feel like being with people who are smarter than me would help me to grow as an individual, at least intellectually, which is something that I really admire. So when y'all say, oh, he was at KUST and was working out, I mean, I could have stayed at home and just watch YouTube or just watch Netflix, but just like, no, let me go meet this guy. Maybe there are stuff that I can learn. So like, I'm urging people like to go out there, create connections with people, especially people that are smarter than you, people that you can learn from. And when you get an opportunity, like, don't let it slide. Don't let it slide. Go out there to create connections with people is really, really important. For me, much of the things that I have today is from that. It's from connections with people, going out, connecting to people, learning from them, and almost striving as hard as I can to have an impact on their life. Because I feel like if you connect with people and you're not having an impact on their lives, like You're just taking. But the first thing I always try to do is to make an impact on a person's life. Then at least I give them something, then I take something. So it's like a transaction. Other than that, I wouldn't like for people to just connect with me simply because they want to drain what I have, right? But having this mutual relationship that you give something and you take something in return is something that I encourage, and like people should do that. When you have dreams when you are growing up, be serious about them. If you forget about them, no problem. But when you get the opportunity to do anything, jump on it. Go as hard as you can. During TopRank, there were times that I would sleep and I would dream about the code that I was writing. There were times that I would be working on algorithm so hard that I would fall asleep. And that was something I intentionally did, because for me, like, I read about stories of like maybe the Bill Gates and how Bill Gates used to code until he just falls asleep. So for me, like, it has always been like, go as hard as you can. In whatever you are doing, go as hard as you can. Alright, so throughout the program with TopRank, like there were several times I asked myself, why did y'all decide to mentor me, right? So, and it turns out the story of, like, I told you the story of like how I got involved with Udacity and how I had to pay a whole lot of money and it didn't turn out into anything good. That was like sort of one thing that really, I didn't think like I should have paid that amount of money, and he felt like somebody who is like willing to learn, and more like an opportunity is being wasted here because he's not having the right tools, he's not having the right system to learn and go as a developer. So he decided to push up TopRank with me and ask me to get people. So what I say is that, like, I say this to just show how lucky that I am that it happened. It's not everybody that is lucky, but I think like I've been extremely lucky. First of all, y'all brought TopRank up and I joined TopRank, and y'all decided to add an operating system as a project, and I chose it. If there was no TopRank, there's no Oubre Os. If y'all didn't add an operating system into TopRank, I wouldn't have built that, and it would have just been a dream that like I very, very much had forgotten about it. So when I say this, like how lucky I am, I say it to tell you that like the story is not actually just because like I built an operating system. The lesson is not even in that, because I mean anybody could do something like that. They just have to sit down and dedicate time for it and be responsible for whatever that is going to come their way. When I started TopRank, I didn't know there was going to be an operating system. All I just knew was like I was hungry to improve and to develop myself as a programmer. And I was willing to do whatever it took. Programming languages, research on N, Paint, whatever it is, I was just willing to do that. So the story of like building an operating system has brought me this far, but that's not the lesson. The lesson is the opportunities that I jumped on, the connections that I decided to make, the dedication and the responsibility that I took, right? Because there are so many lessons that I learned throughout doing TopRank. And oh boy, there are a whole lot of lessons. Yeah, so that's it. Until next time again, see you. I love you.
God sent. Oh, I feel like a God sent. Yo, hey.
So it's 25th March. And I just fixed some bugs that I think I should show you. I was trying to be able to let my operating system to capture key presses, right? And I had a bug, and I had to go read the implementation of the PC keyboard crate that Phil built his code on. I was able to fix the bugs, and now the code is running, as you can see. So I can say hi in the capture it. I can say hello. I can say hello, and you see everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see everything. So I just said, let me make this video as an update of my progress. So that is it.